I feel your every breath, I hear the words you say, and I keep turning back to hear the music play. I'll make no promises, those promises can break you. How can you call me home, wanting me like yesterday? Where do we build a house? How do the roses grow? Are you and I in love? How do we really know? If love is on our side, you know we're not in trouble. That's when my heart decides to go wherever you will go.
Now, in the very opening scene of The Money Pit, you see an establishing shot of Rio de Janeiro, where Walter's dad is getting married.
Dear Walter, wedding snap of me and your new mom.
In the very opening scene, when they're showing some of the credits and playing the music from the movie The Money Pit, you see a bunch of cityscape shots of New York City. A bunch of different views and shots of different angles and different parts of the city are kind of shown in that segment. And the very last part of it, the camera kind of pans up the side of a building. That is the Langham. The very next scene is sort of a segue from that exterior to the interior of a building, which is a bedroom where Anna and Walter are talking. So you sort of led to believe that that's the interior of the exterior building they just showed you. The reality was the interiors were actually shot at the Apthorpe. So two different buildings that were used. You see the exterior of the Langham, but when they segue it into the bedroom, the interior, that's of the Apthorpe.
Here he comes!
Thank you.
Now, the building where Anna and the orchestra are waiting, where Max arrives and then they eventually start playing, is the Brooklyn Academy of Music. So that interior of this building was used. Here you can see some of the background, how these portions of the theater match up.
It's a great pleasure to be back with you again. I'm sure you feel the same.
Now, when you look directly behind Max, when he's standing here conducting, you can obviously see some seating, but to the left and right of his head, you can actually see 3 light globes on each side of his head. And that was a distinctive feature about this theater. You can see in these images here that they're still set up that way, but the interior of this building is what was used in that scene. Now, one of the filming locations I always found interesting for The Money Pit was the location that they used when Walter meets with Jack, when Jack is discussing the property, you know, the house that Walt and Anna end up eventually buying. But when Walter goes to meet with Jack, Jack is exercising on an athletic track, and you can kind of tell that it's elevated. You could tell that it wasn't on the ground. This wasn't a surface track. And I always found that very interesting because you obviously somewhere in downtown New York City, and this was a rooftop athletic center, and what it was the Jerome Coles Sports and Rec Center at NYU. So when Walter and Jack are moving towards the direction that the camera was filming, the camera was actually kind of rolling backwards as Walter was walking and Jack was sort of jogging in that same direction. One of the things that I always notice is it's a nice sunny day when, Jack and Walter are up on that rooftop, and as they're moving towards the camera, as I said, they go past a building. They either go past or underneath a building that kind of casts a shadow on them, and I could never quite figure out what that was. But here in these aerial images that I have marked with the red arrow, you can see that there was a little brick building that was on that rooftop.
Jack, could you sweat the other way, please?
Wally, will you listen to me?
Not if you keep calling me Wally.
Oh,
What is that? What is that?
oh, it's nothing. It's a pulse alarm.
Well, then maybe we should stop.
No.
To me, it appears that that structure would have been the stairway portion of the structure. You know, it was like an enclosed stairway that would have gone down to the level below, because the track was actually on the roof of this building. It was like a one-story building, so the track would have essentially been on what would have been the second story. But to access that track, you would have obviously needed either an elevator or a stairway. So just like in a parking garage, how they have those stairways, to the best of my knowledge, studying this image, this definitely appears to be the top of that stairway, like a brick enclosure that would have enclosed that staircase that came up here to the rooftop. Now, the restaurant that Max and Anna go to in the movie The Money Pit was actually in the Hotel des Artistes. I hope I pronounced that correctly and didn't butcher it. Now, the restaurant has actually undergone a couple changes, but the decor inside, and in particular the murals, you know, the paintings that are on the wall, very recognizable. You can see, you know, paintings of like semi-nude men and women in like kind of gardens and different settings that are portrayed and displayed around that restaurant. So when Max and Anna are in there, you clearly see those paintings, those murals in the background. And as you can see here in some of these images, they're still there. Still very much a prominent feature of dining inside the interior of this restaurant. Now, obviously, it goes without saying that the centerpiece filming location for the movie The Money Pit was, of course, the house that Walter and Anna buy and obviously end up living in. That house is in Locust Valley, New York. Beautiful piece of property. Very much looks just as it was depicted during filming. Some changes on the property, some changes to the exterior of the house, but still has the very long drive that you see where, you know, all the cars and things that were coming up, whether it would be a taxi cab.
This can't be it.
It's the address.
It's beautiful.
I know. Something must be wrong.
A semi-truck or the work crew coming up.
Well, you better let me off here. I don't think you can make it up the driveway.
They testing missiles here or what?
Beautiful white estate that sits on a big piece of property. The gardens out back have kind of changed, and the landscaping, and there's a pool there now. You know, the fountains, some of those things have obviously changed, but very much still resembles as it did during filming as far as the tract of land with the beautiful estate and property. Looks just like that. Now, anything that was done from the exterior standpoint during filming was actually done here in this location.
They completely ripped up our house.
They sure as hell did, didn't they? They really ripped the guts out of it. They're work animals, I'm telling you.
That goes from all the vehicles driving up to do the demo, the construction, the scaffolding. You know, all that stuff on the backside and around the house. All of that was actually set up here in the property. The garden scene with the fountains and, you know, all of that stuff with the yard done right here on this site, this location. However, all of the interior scenes, all of the debacles that are occurring that was all done in the Kaufman Astoria studios back towards New York City in Astoria, New York. So all that interior stuff was just done on a stage. So they weren't actually destroying, you know, this house to make this movie. That was all done back there in this studio. Now, when Walter and Anna are having the discussion about buying the house, and they go ahead and ultimately decide that they're going to do it, they're standing at a train station on Long Island. In particular, it's in Mill Neck. Now, this train station is actually no longer in use. However, the building that served as this station is basically a post office, a substation for a police station, and also a town hall building. So the structure itself is still standing there. However, it's just not a stop on the train line any longer. That being said, this is the location that they used in the movie. So this is where Walter and Anna are standing on the platform, and then Walter hears a train coming, and then of course they think it's going to stop and they're going to get on it, and it just blows right on by here.
Did you hear that? The train is coming right when we decided to buy the house? This has got to be an omen. I can feel it. This is it. Everything breaking down.
Now, when you see Max and Anna back in the city, you see them going across an intersection on their way to a Mercedes-Benz showroom. The intersection that they would have been walking across would have been the intersection of Park Avenue and East 56th. And that Mercedes-Benz showroom would have been right here on my left in this building that is now a Cellini. So this would have been the building that the Mercedes-Benz showroom would have been in. So that's where Max and Anna go in, and then Max is sitting in the car, and Anna's basically telling Max everything that he wants to hear about how good he looks in that vehicle. But that location that they used for that particular shot was right here at Park Avenue and East 56th. And I did dig up some pictures of when it was actually still that Mercedes-Benz showroom. It's been about 15 years since that was actually located here at this particular site. Since then, it's turned over to some other businesses, such as the one that's currently here. But these are some images that you could see of this particular location when it was indeed still a Mercedes-Benz showroom.
How do I look in this?
Oh, beautiful. You look beautiful in everything. Mm-hmm.
Now, the very ending scene in the movie, The Money Pit, kind of brings the movie full circle. You see Walter's dad and new stepmom purchasing a house in what is supposed to be Rio de Janeiro. That house is actually in Miami, Florida. That's the Via Vasaya. It's a very well-known estate that you can actually take tours of, and which is what I did when I was in Miami, Florida. I went over to see it, not because of the Money Pit. I just went and saw it years ago when I was there. But that was actually in Miami, Florida, so an outlier location for the movie. Most everything was shot in either New York State or specifically in New York City for this movie.